This is the Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Trilogy Kingdom Core Class Optimus Prime. Finally, Kingdom figures have started popping up over here in Manila, and I think we're just gonna get the core class before the year ends. Voyagers, Deluxes, and Leaders, they're gonna be pushed back to January, I believe. I picked up this figure from Hobby Corner, and you know, if you've seen my previous videos on the reveals of these figures, I wasn't too interested in the core class figures, except for Rat Trap, perhaps. But I wanted to give the core class figures a chance. I want to give them a fair shake. Let's see if they will impress me. Now, the first figure they've come out with right off the bat is Optimus Prime, and it's very difficult to resist buying an Optimus Prime figure, especially if it's really, really well made. This figure, I'll have to admit, in packaging looks quite promising. We'll have to wait and see. Let's get him out of packaging. And here is core class Optimus Prime out of packaging, and Hasbro going back to what they do best, small figures. And this Optimus Prime has everything, all the aesthetics it needs to be a legit Optimus Prime. He's got his awesome cannon, his blaster. Look at that. Very G1 in style. He's got his trademark chest. Fantastic head sculpt. Smokestacks. Even the legs. Legs have taken some inspiration and aesthetics from the Siege and Earthrise versions of Optimus Prime. But overall, the figure just screams Optimus Prime, particularly the G1, Generation 1 Optimus Prime. And I'm absolutely amazed at what Hasbro can do with such a small figure. Paint apps for the figure, spot on. Hardly anything to complain about with this one. The eyes are painted nicely. You got that really nice face shield, face mask. Chest is neatly painted with this baby blue, flat baby blue paint on his windshield, the truck's windshield that forms his chest. Very nice silver paint apps on the torso and the smokestacks. The shins are painted as well. Some gray bits here and there. I love the colors that Hasbro chose for this figure. You got them really nice bright blue colors and muted red colors. It really does feel like it's a combination between the toy and animation colors. Having said all of that, there's always a but. The figure does feel like it's cheap. They're back to using El Cheapo plastic. It's not super cheap, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining too much. But the plastic isn't as hard, isn't as premium as some of the Earthrise figures we've seen. It is a core class figure, and Hasbro felt they didn't really have to spend too much on quality for this figure, since they're gonna sell it for super expensive. Anyway, out here in Manila, these kinds of figures usually go for about $13. Hobby shops, especially from the one I bought this from, we're selling it at $16. A little bit pricey for such a small figure. Articulation for the figure, he's got a swivel neck, ab crunch, a little bit because of transformation, a little bit of a torso swivel that doesn't really quite work. Yeah, it's mainly due to transformation. I don't think it's a legitimate type of torso swivel, so we're gonna say he doesn't have any swivel. Okay, ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed elbows, hinge wrists that go in and out because of transformation, ball jointed hips, ball jointed knees, and no rocker articulation. However, the feet are already molded at an angle, so you can't really stand his legs straight in attention, like military attention. You'll need to put those feet apart a little bit just to get him flat on the surface, which is fine. That's really how you're going to pose Optimus Prime anyway. And for some size comparisons, here is Kingdom Core Class Optimus Prime with the Legends, Titan's Return Brawn, as well as the Legion. These were the Legends figures back in the day for Transformers Universe. And they're now, I suppose they're now in the Legion scale. So he's right there. I thought he was going to be much smaller than a Titan's Return Legends class or Power of the Primes Legends class, but he's about the same height, head to toe, with Brawn. So that's pretty interesting. There's no heft though. It's a much lighter figure compared to this one. And even compared to this one is a little bit more solid than this figure. But nevertheless, it's a nice scale that Hasbro loves to play around with, and I think they did an awesome job for such a small Optimus Prime figure. Now the blaster does store, I guess you can store it somewhere else when not being used in robot mode. You can store it right up his, okay. So yeah, it's pretty cool too. So to transform him, you got to remove the blaster. Transformation is a little tricky, and quite frankly, I did not enjoy transforming this figure, but we'll see. First thing you want to do is you want to fold down the head this way, and I tell you what, this thing is near impossible to transform back into robot mode without chipping a nail or cracking a nail, because I don't know what Hasbro's engineers were thinking. They think it was so easy to just, how would you do this? Is it the gun? Are you supposed to use the gun to pry it out? Because honestly, I have no idea. I haven't figured out the best way to do this without really chipping your nails or breaking your nails. So that's a design flaw. I think Hasbro should have remedied that. Now this flap right here in the back, untab it, fold it back top like that. That will free up the torso. You can rotate that upper torso like that. And fold that lower torso or pelvis, fold it up like that. Go ahead and join the feet together. Typical transformation for Optimus Prime. What you want to do is you want to fold, you want to start already folding the fists like this, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to fold the arms this way, this way, this way, and then this way. Actually, what I'd like to do is you get the rotate the elbows already in the position you want them in his final, in his alt mode. That way it'll save you some trouble, because those ball joints are just so darn tight. And it just takes away a lot of the fun in transforming this figure. So once you've got that, you got to fold this back piece right here, fold it up like this, just scoot it and slide it all the way up right here, and that'll complete the front part and grill of the truck. And then the hands, they're just going to fold this way and this way, and then you can see that there are peg holes right there. Those are for the pegs on the thighs. And again, just sucking out all the fun of the transformation because of all these difficult steps. And there you go. I don't mean to complain too much, but it's for a small toy. I don't understand why they made it such a difficult transformation. The gun, you can peg it right here on the side, so you can start shooting Decepticons even in truck mode, but it doesn't stay, it just loves to pop off. So the other way to store it, as instructions say, is to mount it like this on his back. But for me, I think I'd mount it this way, so it's a little bit more hidden. Okay, what I'm impressed about this figure though is all 6 wheels are independently rolling and independent of each other, and they do roll. It's a nice smooth roll. And yeah, one of the trademarks of the small Legends class figures is that they really roll very nicely. But I don't understand how transformation could have been such a big mess when they could have easily done something like this. It's a very similar transformation. I don't know why they had to complicate things. Look at this. Look how fun this toy is. The old Universe figures were just a lot of fun. You keep them in your pocket, and then you transform them in 2 seconds or 3 seconds. It's just so cool. There's so much playability with this little teeny tiny figure. Just a shame it didn't have a gun. But look at the size of them. In alt mode, they are almost the same size, but definitely he's much bigger, obviously. But they have the same type of engineering. I don't know why they couldn't have made it as fun as the smaller guy and had to do such a great complicated mess with this one. Nevertheless, the way the engineering works, it just makes the alt mode quite seamless, but not as seamless as this one. Haha. So yeah, I guess the guy who designed this is probably laughing and saying, haha, I did a better toy than you guys, than the new guy did. So, okay. And so some final thoughts on this core class Optimus Prime. I think it has all the attributes, aesthetics, and designs for it to be a perfect Optimus Prime. It's just not a lot of fun. It's a great display piece, aesthetic-wise, even perhaps in truck mode and in robot mode, but the engineering for the transformation, which is the crux of all Transformers toys, just seems to be lacking in the fun playability aspect, and that will bring the grade down for this figure. This figure is going to get an 8.5 out of 10 for me. I was really expecting it to be a perfect figure. This was the litmus test for me, whether I should be going back into this legend scaled Transformers, because I used to collect a lot of these when Hasbro did their Cyberverse Commanders, their Legends class, their Legion class figures. They were a lot of fun to collect, but their prices are just going so much high nowadays that they're so close to the price point of a deluxe class that I don't think it's worth getting these figures on full-on retail. My suggestion is just wait for them to go on clearance or for their prices to drop by a little bit. The retail price that Hasbro is asking for them, I just think it's not worth it. If you must get them, just get the characters that you absolutely must have, as in it has to be like life or death kind of thing that you must have. Go get those characters, but the other characters, I think they can wait for clearance. So let me know in the comment section what you think of this Optimus Prime figure. You agree with me? Do you think they're just priced right? And you think they're worth collecting, or they're just a wait for clearance kind of thing? Hit me up in the comment section, and as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if you want to help out the channel, please check out my Patreon account. There's a link in the description box below. Thanks for watching.